Hi there, I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media.
And I'm Jenni Walke from Elephant in the Room Consulting, and you're tuning into Bite-Sized Business Live Podcast, the show that helps business owners get clarity and insight to grow their dream business.
Whether you're launching, ready to scale, or figuring out what's next, we discuss the nitty-gritty, the hard bits, the opportunities, and the behind the scenes, and share how we've grown our own companies and helped others do the same.
We're glad you're here. Good morning, everybody. Hi there. This is Jenni Walke from Elephant in the Room Consulting and Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and you're tuning in to Bite-Sized Business Live Podcast, the show that helps small business owners get clarity and insight to grow their dream business. Good morning, Kylie. Welcome to Monday. How are you doing today?
Jenni, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. I had 3 days of chilling at home, recouping last week after some hectic travel time, and really had time to just reconnect, hang out with family, and it was really fun. And you don't get to do that very often, so I just forced myself. So I'm feeling very refreshed and rejuvenated today.
Good for you.
And you've had family around too.
I've got my family over from New Zealand, so we've been action-packed, lots going on, and it's just beautiful. The last few years, as we've all been affected by, not being able to travel and all that kind of stuff, it's just such a treat to be able to do that.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Yeah.
Now, I think we should get straight into today's topic because it's something somewhat of a hot topic at the moment, and it's the launch of Threads. And I am so confused by this app. I'm not really quite sure what I'm supposed to do on it. And I would love your insight because this is the space that you love to play, telling us and sharing us about amazing new platforms and how we should use them to get the best out of it for our business, but also for ourselves. So what is Threads?
Well, I really like that you just said for our business, but also for ourselves, because I really think at the moment you've absolutely got to grab that spot in Threads because it's such a pleasurable space to be in right now. It's fun. It's old school. It's like circa 2009 social media, what's going on. So I think to get the joy back of what we all enjoyed about it for ourselves personally. Remember when you joined Facebook, for example, and all you did was connect with friends and family, share some photos, a funny meme, and that was it. We didn't think about, oh God, our feed is full of ads and, all the overwhelm. And then in terms of business, oh God, I've got to post today and what shall I post? And, oh, they've changed it. Now they've introduced Reels. Oh, now they're saying that my carousel is going to get more views. It's just, whoa, so much to keep up with. Sorry, I just turned off my sound. So I think that just look at it purely from a joyful perspective at the moment is a really good place to start.
I love that you said circa 2009 because that just reminded me. I joined Facebook because I was going to Thailand for a kickboxing camp, and I thought at the time I want to make sure my family know where I am and send some photos. So I joined Facebook purely because I needed to post photos from being in Thailand with a friend. So, and now I think back to those days, I'm like, I don't think I post on Facebook anywhere near as much as I do or did then. But you are right. It's so different now. There's so much more weight around using social media than there was back then.
Absolutely. I think it's just lost so much of the joy. So my mum said something to me yesterday about seeing one of the posts from my auntie about a family catch-up. And I said, no, I hadn't seen it. And then I said, but I actually haven't been on Facebook for a couple of days, which is unheard of, really. So I've had Friday off and I'm having today off to be with my family. And so to me, that meant not going to get on social media because I'm not there for business purposes. I'm having the time off. But isn't that interesting that I no longer think of it as something personal that I'm going to, I get onto it to look for something specific if it's a personal thing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's certainly not a place where I just literally hang out. However, Threads, on the other hand, is a whole nother ballgame. I have been really enjoying the interactions on there, really enjoying seeing what funny things people are saying. I'll give you a little hot tip here of a couple of things people to follow. One of them would be Wendy's. I know that's a challenging word with my accent, but can you say it, Jenni?
Wendy's?
Yes, Wendy's.
Wendy's.
the fast food chain from the States. Go and have a look at them because they are gold and so, so, so funny. And there's another one that I found that I absolutely love that was very, very clever. And that one is bookshop.org. Absolutely funny as anything. It's an online bookstore. And they talk about, she does really funny posts about, being one of the small guys, not about, not about shopping for books through Amazon and everything. But anyway, it's just really funny and very, very clever. So you want to follow some fun people for sure that are different. Also, I would definitely recommend going and finding Mosseri, so Adam Mosseri. So it's just Mosseri, Mosseri. He is the CEO of Instagram and therefore Threads. So he's brilliant to follow because he's got all the latest things that are happening. But also go and follow Mark Zuckerberg as well, whose app it happens to be. But his is just Zuck, Z-U-C-K. So go and follow him because he'll tell you what's happening there as well. So what I first of all should say, though, is what is it? So it's a new platform. Now, everybody says, or a lot of people are saying, that it is just there to take over from Twitter. But I don't believe that is the case. I still think that Twitter has its place. There's a lot of people upset with what's been going on with Twitter. I'm not a tweeter, so I just kind of stay out of that whole space anyway. So if it was just another Twitter, I actually wouldn't be interested in being there. However, it's not just another Twitter. It's a little place of lightness and fun, which is really nice. So at the moment, you cannot, well, I shouldn't say at the moment, but who knows what's going to change over time. But you cannot get a Threads account without having an Instagram account. Nobody else could get a Threads account in your name because it has to be exactly what your own Instagram account is. So you sign up through Instagram. All of the privacy policies and all of that are exactly the same as what they are on Instagram. But what's extraordinary about it is that there's no private messaging. There's no ads. They're saying that they won't do any ads for 2023 in general, or won't do any ads before they get to 1 billion signups, which might never happen. Who knows? But of course, they're going to have to monetize it at some point. But what is so cool about it is that there's no separate feed. There's no nothing. It's literally just post a few words. It can be up to 500 characters and off you go. It's really, really super simple. You can post a photo. You can post a little video. There's no stories. There's no nothing. You can post a reel from Instagram, for example, something that you've made, put it out there, see how it goes. But the main thing is it isn't Instagram. You cannot post what you post on Instagram. It's not like a marketing machine to just be spouting out your message. It's not about that at all. It's about connecting. So it's got a whole different vibe going on.
So, and when I had a play with it, I did have a look at it, and it does have I can see why the link to Twitter, because it has a Twitter-esque feel to some of the look about it. And then there's the thread. So when I'm on kind of the homepage, I just get this thread of just as it is, just lots and lots and lots of messages. And then if you pop into someone's message, I can see their threads. And I guess I can see how you can get into a rabbit hole. And that's what I'm interested in, because there are some people kind of posting, hey, I've just renovated my bedroom or my office. And then some people are just, doing the memes. So there is this kind of cross section. It feels like it's a little bit of Insta. It's a little bit, or it feels a little bit like Twitter. But as you say, it is a lot lighter. It's a lot more fun. But I'm wondering how long it will stay that way, because because people are going to want to say, well, I've signed up with the business account. Do I need to go and sign up with a personal account as well? Do I need threads on my, my personal Insta as well as my business Insta? What's the difference? How do you play with this space?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I'm not so interested in it for the personal version. Like, probably I will log into my account at some point and go grab it, but for now I don't feel the need. But that said, I'm barely on my personal Instagram anyway.
Yeah, same.
So I just haven't got that interest in it. So, and the friends that I want to follow, I'm following from my business account anyway.
Yeah. So it's easy just to have that one, because I think it's different to, as you said, it's different. If you have Insta, you have multiple accounts on Insta, they've got different purposes, but Thread seems to be, if we're just sharing ideas or content or whatever it might be, or just a quote or whatever you want to put on there, having multiple accounts would be very hectic, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like this is about connecting. It's about the person behind the brand rather than the brand as such.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So you use it to really share a little bit about you as the owner of the business and the brand rather than about the business. It's almost
Jenni,
like an ongoing about page.
Yeah, it's a perfect spot for you and your shoes.
Yes, I'm just thinking about that because we may or may not have bought lots of shoes recently. We had a little bit of shoe fest in the last couple of weeks. So that's exciting. I can show my shoes being unwrapped when they arrive from Goat.
But also I saw that I just spilled my tea. But also I saw you did a great little video of them up on the fence. And so I thought that's the sort of thing that you'd want to post. It's something that's light. So again, it doesn't have to be, well, it shouldn't be selfies and here I am doing this or whatever, but something that's just a little bit quirky or different about what makes you, you could even do a funny thing about this is my why. This is my why I'm in business because it's all about the shoes. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can look at it. But what I want to say is that there's been nothing that has grown this fast ever before. So up until Threads, ChatGPT was the fastest sign up. So to get to 1 million users, well, the time that it took to get to 1 million users for Netflix was 3.5 years. Wow. Took Twitter 2 years to get to 1 million users. Took Facebook 10 months. Took Spotify 5 months. Took Instagram 2.5 months. It took ChatGPT 5 days. And Threads, it took an hour.
That is so insane, isn't it? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so insane. So what's the cool thing too is that they're all about what number you were when you got there. So the way to know what number you were is you go to your Instagram account, and I'm just going to open up mine right now.
You have the best number of anyone that I know on Threads, just quietly.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? So I've just noticed it's gone. The number has gone.
Oh, I've just got mine. Yours was like 3,796 or something insane.
Exactly.
And mine is 99,800,373. And I'm just like, that's a week, people. Like, come on.
So Threads started at 9 a.m. It was launched at 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning. So this Thursday, it'll be 2 weeks ago. So kind of like 10 days ago or something. And what happened is they really gave very little notice that it was actually happening. Not many people knew about it. And it was actually then launched 12 hours earlier than it was supposed to. So there was a lot of flurry. Now, the best thing for us here down in the Southern Hemisphere is that was 9 a.m. our time. So for the people in the States, they were like up all night, threading, checking it all out, going, whoa. For us, we could just be popping in. So I was there bang on 9 o'clock. So that's why I was like 3,000 and something. But then my Action Takers group coaching is a Thursday morning at 9:30. And our topic of the day was actually all the latest stuff on Instagram that's been going on. And so how we can harness this new stuff and really use it in our business. And then I said, okay, everyone grab out your phones. We're going to go to this new platform. So everyone was brand new in our group as well. So that was really exciting for them all to be, first in there. So
I just found yours 3,963 actually. So I jibbed you by 4.
So can you see that on my Instagram?
Yeah, I can see it on your Insta.
Well, that's so interesting because I can't see it. Seems to have been weird. So then if you look up the very, very top when you're on your account, you can see on the right-hand side, you've got the hamburger. Then you've got the plus. So if you're going to make a story or a reel or whatever, and then next to that, you've got the little symbol for Threads.
Yep.
So it is very easy to see anybody's Threads account or to go to your own Threads profile. So it opens up the app, etc.
Yeah.
So they're really, really intertwined. One cool thing is that they haven't made it hard to set up. So you can go to the App Store or the Google Play Store or whatever and download the Threads app. Or if you went to their website, then you could scan the QR code, which then you grab it. And then basically it copies over your bio from Instagram. And it even says, do you want to keep the same people that you're following? So then as those people join Threads, then you're following more and more people, and then you'll get more followers and all that. So you don't start off, or no one will start off with 0 followers, because it's a nice process that you've already got some stuff happening. That said, there's a little fair bit of people being disgruntled because those with millions of followers then already have millions of followers. Like, for example, if I go back to Zucks, for example, he's got 3 million followers on Threads. So,
Yeah.
you know, for people like you and I, that's never going to happen. So what we're seeing in our Threads feed at the moment is a mix of people that we follow, but then we're also seeing some random people that it's just choosing to show us to see what we think, etc. So it's definitely, you know, sharing stuff. So definitely go and have a look, though, at Masseri and Zuck, because that's how you'll get the latest updates that's happening, and they'll share. And also you need to be following Masseri on Adam Masseri on Instagram, because he does some really great live videos talking about what's going on. So in 5 days, they had 100 million users sign up. And that's absolutely extraordinary. So that took 2.5 years for Instagram to get the same spot. So you definitely want to take a look at some of that. So I want to tell you, I'm just going to open up what I put on so I can read you some of the things. So I've put up a few different posts on my Threads kind of sharing stuff. So I've put up pictures of the dog, but I've also put up the little bits about what's happening. For example, one of my posts said, right now we're at the BlackBerry versus Apple stage again. BlackBerry's famous last words back in 2007's iPhone launch was, "We'll be fine." So watch the space. Times are changing, because realistically, Twitter is freaking out. So, and I said in that post, PS, there's already a course out there that an expert has created, which is for $5,000 to learn how to really be a good strategist on Threads. It's like, actually, no, don't pay $5,000 for that, because we're all in the same playing field right now. It's brand new for all of us. There's very few features on it. Like, there's not even any hashtags yet. There's, you know, it's definitely super, super basic. But, you know, as we know, it'll be changing. But yeah, like, to start a course for it is just ridiculous. Yeah.
Although I do love the fact that that shows an entrepreneur spirit going, somebody who's unsure, who doesn't know this, they would 100% go and pay $5,000 to get someone to tell them how to use Threads, particularly if they've got a number like yours in those very, very low numbers. So if they've got someone who's under 10,000, under 5,000 like you are, I can imagine someone thinking that must mean that they're an expert, that they must be an early adopter. But as you said, looking through it, it's kind of just about playing and sharing and providing information about the person. You know, that's a very expensive $5,000 course to know those 5 things. I want to know how long it goes for, right? Like, so we talk a lot about, we talk about monetizing our courses and monetizing our knowledge, but that's entrepreneurial spirit in reality, isn't it?
Totally. And one of the cool things about Threads too is that you can do a thread and then you can share it instantly as a story or a post to Instagram. So it's so good to be able to connect that up. But I saw this really great thread, and so I'll post, and then I rethreaded it. The official word is actually repost, but everyone's saying rethread. So I think that'll for sure stick. And that is that LinkedIn is like a business conference. Instagram is the dinner party. TikTok is the after work drinks. Threads is the open house slumber party with all your BFFs where everyone's invited. Let's go.
I like that.
There you go. It just shows it's just a fun place to be right now.
And I think when social media has become such a business, and I mean, and that's not saying in a negative way, but it is a business. And you said this yourself. You love social media, but you also know that when you're having a break or wanting some downtime, you don't go on social media. So we have this connection with it, that it is a business. It's something that we have to do as part of our business to show up, to get visible, to stay visible online. And when we want to take a break, having an opportunity like Threads, where you still feel a little bit connected and part of a community, but you don't have to worry about whether you're getting the views or the likes or the shares or the feedback. It's just about sharing a little bit about yourself. I really love that kind of connection. And almost, I would say, for people scared of going into social media, you can almost start on Threads. If you haven't taken the jump in, obviously you need an Insta account, but jumping into Threads is kind of a nice way to play and start to see and build community, and the value of that, isn't it?
Totally is. And I did this post, I think it was within the first 24 hours on Threads, which I then shared to Instagram, to hopefully, so could give my opinion really, but also some to what to do. So, for example, it says Threads app things to know. So the first thing is that you can only post 500 characters per post, which is 77 words. You can post up to 10 pics. So it's kind of like doing a carousel. You can post a video up to 5 minutes. So really, it could just be a reel if you want to, and just, send that in. One of the annoying glitches is that the app crashes if you upload or post at the limit. So don't post 10 images, for example, even though you can, because boom, there'll be a crash. Another one is that you cannot edit your post. Super annoying. But you can delete it. So that's good. You couldn't in the first couple of days easily switch between accounts, but now it's a little bit easier, but you still got to log out. So that's kind of annoying. And probably my biggest gripe is that there's no accessibility features. Yep. There's no alt text or anything like that. You can't zoom in. You can't do anything. And so they're really discounting people with any kind of additional need. And that means people even... I read a post on Instagram with someone saying, I've got really poor eyesight and I'm trying to read Threads with a ginormous magnifying glass. Come on, Missouri, pick up your game with your accessibility features. So, yeah, that's a major one yet. I think it's interesting that they went ahead with the launch and they even pulled the time closer and just went for it. But to me, that's an absolute no-brainer. You have to have that accessibility to make it fair for all.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting point. And as you're talking, sometimes I'm thinking it's almost, this is, without them saying it, is we're doing the beta version, right? This is the beta version that we're playing with. So those features and things may come because they want to see whether people were going to sign up, whether it was going to have the take up to justify maybe some of those other features, which I know is kind of a poor excuse in 2023 because those features really should be built in as you're designing from a user experience perspective. But I kind of feel like from all those little things that you've spoken about, we are all playing in the beta space. It's all just come along. It's like we're back on, I love that we're on VHS trying to work out if we can use the controls, and if they'll upgrade us to Blu-ray, and then we'll go back to DVD, right? So it's that kind of, I feel like that's where we're playing, but there's something cool about that too, because with technology these days, we often don't feel like we've got that kind of base model anymore. It has to go into, we have to use it with the full features, bells and whistles. So it's actually giving something, as I said, something for someone to play in who's a little nervous, doesn't want to feel like they're connecting with every man and their dog on social, but just wants to be seen or kind of occasionally share something. Threads would be the place to go because it's about an individual person. It's an individual's kind of sharing rather than that brand identity.
Absolutely. It's just so joyful at the moment, and long may this last. But at the moment, it's a really kind space. And it just feels like there's no nastiness, there's no ick. It's just really nice. And somebody that I follow and have for a very long time, who's a very extraordinary marketer and with a ginormous following, and she put a post out on about day 3 saying, really enjoying hanging out here. Who'd like to hear some of my tips or ideas for how to market your business on here? And she got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments of people saying, no, read the room. Nobody's ready for that just yet. Let us all just play for a while. Don't be that person. And that changes the vibe. And it was mind-blowing. And some of the comments were so funny. No one was being mean. It was just, we're not ready for that. We're just having fun. Don't make me leave the party early, Mum. That kind of stuff. And I kept going back just for the comments because they would just make me laugh. But it was so glorious to see that everyone felt the same way. It's like, no, don't wreck it just yet.
I love that. And I think that vibe that you talked about, and it's been going for almost 2 weeks now, I think, isn't it? We're sitting into the second week, and to have that vibe.
On Thursday, it'll be 2 weeks.
Yeah. So having that vibe and keep going, I think would be really refreshing for everybody to maintain. And again, separates it from the Twitter conversations too. So that's a kind of point of difference by if we start to move into that kind of opinionated space, brand positioning, marketing, really push. it moves into either an Insta or a Twitter in some form, but having this space, as you say, I love that idea of it's a slumber party with all your friends over. That I love that. That's a kind of sense in a space that I want to play when I'm sitting on my couch and we're watching Netflix, or my partner's watching 7 games of football and I don't want to watch anymore. I can scroll on Threads and not feel like I'm also having to do business. And I kind of like that idea.
Totally. One of the Instagrammers that I follow and really like, Jen's Trends, she teaches a lot of Instagram and stuff. She put up a post that went crazy. It was something to do with a TV show that she liked. She said she's never mentioned that behind the scenes on Instagram or anything like that. I can't remember what it was. It was one of those like a Desperate Housewives-y kind of a show, it's almost like a little, well, I'd call it a bit of a guilty secret. And there she was showing it. But anyway, loads of people were getting in on it. So you could literally say, I'm Jenni and I love watching sports with my fiance on TV. And nobody knew that before, and then you can have a little chat going on. Anyway, super, super cool. It. Really good way just to come up with just some little random stuff to share. And if you don't want to share, then don't. Just do an introductory post and then just start looking at your news feed and just starting to get a vibe. But not that I want to say, here's my $5,000 course, come and learn from me about Threads, because I really don't think at this stage anybody is an expert. But from my strategist brain, where I think that you'd be best to think about how you can start getting noticed would be to start commenting on people's posts. So basically just engaging. So find some really fun stuff, because people are then seeing that. Also repost some stuff that you like, put it out there, and you could tag pages at the moment, or tag accounts. So that's another cool thing to do. So I tagged someone, they then went underneath it, thanks so much, because I just said I really recommend this one, and she messaged and went, oh, thanks so much. Well, didn't private message, but underneath the thread, thanks so much for that. It was lovely to get that shout out and stuff. So there's really real conversations going on with people that you might not ever have thought you would have been able to reach. So that's a pretty cool thing, is that we're just all on the same playing field right now.
I love that. So we've talked about all the cool things, why it's fun. Before we kind of sign off, because I think everyone wants to go and play on their Threads, just for fun, before you get into your work day, this is that kind of rabbit hole that you're about to go into, people. But what are we hearing in terms of the consent? I know there's one of the comments is about not being able to delete the account, but you can hide it. Is that right?
Excuse me. It definitely is an issue for some. I can't understand why it's an issue, because if I didn't want to all of a sudden have my Instagram account, I just wouldn't use it. But I probably would never delete it, because of the fact that I'm like, but what about in the future? I might want it. So I would probably just deactivate it or just stop posting. So I don't see the need for the deleting. So it's correct. You cannot delete your Threads account. If you do, you delete your Instagram account as well. So that would be an absolute horror scenario. You wouldn't want to do that, but you can deactivate it. But again, why would you? Why don't you just have it sitting there, do a little hello, here I am post, and you might even want to do something where you go, hi, this is me, I'm not actually playing in this space, so come and find me on Instagram, or go and find me on Facebook or whatever, which is a great strategy anyway. Even no matter what business you are in, always claim those accounts. And every single, like I say, I'm not a tweeter, but I've still got a Twitter account. And it's just really clear that I'm not using it, but it doesn't mean that my business isn't operating. So the Twitter account is there, and it's got links to the other places you can find me. So I think that that's the good thing. I mean, the only thing I don't do that with is TikTok, because I'm 100% not interested in ever having an account there. But for anything else, I would. But I want to say one thing, though, about its launch, which I just think was so incredibly clever. Now, Jenni, do you remember Clubhouse?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah. So Clubhouse was fascinating the way that they launched. It was such that private party that you were waiting for that invite for. And then once you got it,
no one wants to go to now.
Yeah, you got 2 invites, and then you were waiting to be, the more time you spent on Clubhouse, then you get another invite. And I had a list on my personal account of all the people who were like waiting for the invite stuff. So they did the opposite to that. They kept it really, really low key. And then they pulled it, even brought it forward 12 hours and then it just went bump. So there was nothing exclusive about it or anything. It's just literally there for the masses. Yeah. So I thought that was a really cool thing that they did. But what's interesting when you just say, actually, who's on Clubhouse? Well, me. I've gone back there because I found something came up in my Threads account saying that someone was talking about Threads in Clubhouse in one of the Clubhouse rooms that I was, I guess, subscribed to, a couple of years ago or whatever. So I jumped on in. Next thing, I had it sitting there while I was doing stuff and I'd been listening to it for 2 hours. And it was really, really interesting. And now I put my notifications back on for Clubhouse and I've jumped in and out of rooms again. And loads of people are saying the same thing. So it's almost brought Clubhouse back to people's awareness. So very interesting.
That is very interesting, actually. What I do like about it, though, and I think the key for me is that, and maybe it's because of my, altruism, the way that I kind of like to show up in the world and think that we're all one big family and we should all kind of hold hands and sing Kumbaya sometimes. But I feel like sometimes that kind of need for exclusivity is that exclusionary kind of approach. I kind of like, it doesn't really sit as comfortable with me, which is like, that's what I love about, and you made that comment earlier, that we're all in the same space. When you're in Threads, everybody's at the same level. It doesn't really matter how many followers you have. It doesn't really matter about where you are or what you do. It's really about what you're sharing, what you're liking, what you're doing. And so we all get to show up as humans on that kind of level, which sometimes we tend to miss out on a little bit with social media, because it is around kind of finding your target market only and talking to that very niche group of people, versus Threads where anybody can see you, anyone can engage, anyone can message each other, and it's all open, it's all public, and it does create a sense of community.
Totally. So I say just go and make sure you've got your account, that I keep saying claimed it. Well, that's not strictly true because no one else can claim it, but I still think you want to claim it in the respect that you want to actually go grab it, so that you've got it there, and then do an introductory post and then sit back and watch, because it's just so nice. And like I said, it's just a friendly vibe. It's a cool place to be. We're all on that level playing field, and, just have some fun with it. There's no algorithm to figure out right now. There's no, I've got to do stories. I've got to make sure that I'm, have I done my link in bio? Have I done my, all the things? Have I marketed my business enough this week on this platform? Just forget that. Just go and have some fun and pull your.
I love that. Out. So my 2 takeaways before we sign off for today is that have some fun on it. But 2, if you don't want to play yet, you're not ready, make the post and claim it, as you said, because that means that other people who do find you might find you back on your Insta or other platforms that you have. So it's worth doing it just as a holding page. It's like a little landing page on Threads at the least that you can do. That would take you about 2 minutes to do. Is all it is. Instagram set it up beautifully for you, where you two or 3 clicks and it's done for you, other than that first post. But I love that idea. Create the community, come on board, have a play, and just start sharing a little bit about the person behind the brand, which is what I loved what you said right at the start of our conversation.
And I suggest 10 minutes a day. Just spend 10 minutes a day on Threads, just having a play and having a read.
Love it. There's a challenge for those listening who are kind of not quite sure. Even I'm going to take that up with my cup of tea before we have our next meeting. Thank you, Kylie, for sharing your amazing comments and insight into Threads. It is a new world for a lot of people. So really good tips. If people want to find you to learn more about all the different things to do with social, where should we find you?
Well, come over to hellomedia.team. That's our website. And I'm just finishing up a blog post that I'm writing about Threads and lots of information behind the scenes with it, particularly around what I think it's going to go in the future, and who is going to, who are the ones that are actually going to really benefit from it in business, for example. So come and have a read of that over the next little while. And of course, join the Hello Media Facebook group, Hello Media, or find us on our socials. What about you, Jenni? How can people connect with you?
At Elephant in the Room AU. I was about to give you hellomedia.team. At Elephant in the Room AU on Insta, Facebook, and now on Threads. That's where you can find us, and we tend to spend a lot of time on Insta and Facebook. You can also find us at elephantintheroomau.com on our webpage.
And on Threads.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Bite Size Business live podcast today. I hope you've given you demystified a little bit more about Threads, get online, have a look at it, but make sure you also subscribe and follow us to make sure you don't miss any future episodes and any of the cool hacks and ideas that Kylie is going to share about social media and us about business and building a great business for you and your future. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks again, Kylie. Nice to chat to you. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye.